that.
All that said, then the Raiders can't leave the
2024
draft without addressing what need.
Well, when you look at their roster, I think like one thing that jumps out, there's two spots that really jump out to me, right? You know, pass rushers, they should be good. And let's not forget that they drafted a pass rusher in the top 10 last year, right, who wasn't really healthy and didn't get to show himself. D tackles shored up. They're good there, right? I think when I look at them more than anything right now, I go wide receiver for the future, right? Devontae Adams, how much longer will he be there? Jacoby Myers, they got him. They don't got much else. And then I would think O-line, right? I don't know how they feel, but their interior part of their O-line, right? A right tackle that's kind of unproven in Munford from Ohio State. I would look at those two positions to think that they are towards the top of the list for the Raiders as far as addressing.
When we talked last week about the Fugazi numbers in top receiver contracts, next year is Fugazi year one for Devontae Adams. He's not staying unless he takes less than the $36 million he's due to make next year. More than $36 million, or it is right at just a little over $36 million next year for Devontae Adams. I mean, hell, if Rome Odunze is still there at 13, this is a no-brainer. Compares to Devontae Adams, he's from Las Vegas, went to high school there. I mean, it makes too much sense if he's there. And again, you've got Gardner Minshew, you've got Aiden O'Connell. Don't reach for a quarterback. I think a lot of that talk from Antonio Pierce was just talk. It's just puff. It's just, misdirection. Let's ride it out with what we have and let's get help elsewhere. But I think this is Devontae Adams' last year unless he does a dramatic reduction in his contract for 2025. He'll be gone after
I would
this
expect
year.
that.
So I agree with you on that.
Yeah, the Raiders are interesting. They're definitely one of the teams you look at, right, where you go – quarterback, will they address it at 13? Will they read the board? Can they trade down and maybe take a Michael Penix later, a Bo Nix? Do they trade up early in the second round, late first round, make that type of move? I mean, they're one of those teams I feel like I could see it going either way there, right? But yeah, they're definitely one of those, I don't know what they're going to do here in the draft, and they could sway the outcome of the draft in a lot of different ways by that pick.
Broncos picking one spot in front of the Raiders in round one. Clear need at quarterback there. Sean Payton entering year two. He can't leave this draft without addressing what?
Well, I mean, yeah, you said it right. We know quarterback. I mean, he said it right. We got to get this right? I continue to sit here and go, Bo Nix is just the perfect Sean Payton quarterback. He's got a lot of Drew Brees about him. He really makes a ton of throws. He's great off schedule. I think him and Caleb Williams are the best at scrambling to throw in the draft, right? Jaden Daniels the best runner, but he doesn't scramble and move in the pocket and make plays and extend plays and then throw the ball like those two guys do. Let alone he's got a quick, sharp, accurate release and everything there that I think Sean Payton would like. So I just wanted to throw that out there again. But other than that, I think wide receiver certainly can be another position you look at, right? To go, Cortland Sutton, yeah, he's good. He wants a contract. I don't know where that goes. They got Marvin Mims there who showed some serious promise there. But do they have enough going forward? I think the main one, though, Mike, for me would be defensive tackle, interior D lineman. I look at that part of their roster and just go, there's no big-time difference makers or not enough guys even there in general, to make me think that defense is a real force up front with the lack of, dudes at that position.
Back into the defense, too, they cut Justin Simmons, who is still available, one of the top free agents still out there, but that was a luxury they decided they couldn't afford. Receiver, I agree with you. Cortland Sutton staying away from voluntary workouts. He wants something to be done with his contract, and there are certain players that we know that Sean Payton wants, and I could see him grossly overcorrecting at this quarterback position to find a guy who is prototypical, will do everything that Sean Payton is looking for in a quarterback, as close to Drew Brees as possible. Bo Nix may fall right into that category, and he may be there. He may be there at number 12. He may be.
I think he will be.
We think there's going to be this run right out of the gates, but it may be that the Vikings exercise restraint. The Giants are just putting out this idea. They're thinking about a quarterback for trade purposes potentially, but it all just settles down. We see Caleb Williams, we see Jaden Daniels, and then where does J.J. McCarthy go? Where does Bo Nix go? Where does Michael Penix go? Where does Drake May go? And it may not be that run that I think a lot of people are assuming. And it just becomes, you kind of like speak it into existence because the quarterbacks are the most compelling figures in every draft.
That's right. And it's the easiest one to just, well, they need a quarterback. Let's put him on a team. And it fills out mock drafts and does everything like that. But almost every year, the quarterback thing is overshot in mock drafts and what we think and whatever else. Almost every year. It's very rare where it lines up like, oh, damn, it's Trevor Lawrence, it's Zach Wilson, it's Trey Lance right out the gate.
And look at what happened.
Right.
And look at what happened.
Exactly. Right. So to me, the only for sure thing is 1 and 2, Caleb and Jaden. From there, we'll see. Right. I know some of the draft pundits out there are still throwing Drake May out there. I don't know anybody that's in love with Drake May. I don't talk to all 32 teams, but I don't know anybody, right? That's the one thing. So I just keep going, really? Somebody's going to take him at 3? I know a lot of people in the NFL, and I don't know anybody that's like, Drake May's awesome. Drake May is, you got to have him. He's the man. So that's weird. The Penix situation, the Bo Nix situation, J.J. McCarthy, right? I mean, barely throws the ball, doesn't do all that much, right? That's where I go. In our traditional standpoint of what we think of quarterbacks, those guys we just mentioned are not top 5 talents. Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams are. The rest are first-rounders that are outside the top 10, really, in my opinion. But will they be overdrafted because of the quarterback position? We'll all be waiting to see that.
The Chiefs can't leave the draft without addressing what, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's a pretty well-built team, as we know, right? It's not a ton of spots that you look at to go, hey, it's glaring. I think one is D-tackle youth there, right, a little bit. It's a kind of an older group with Chris Jones, Derek Nottie, Mike Pennell, right? Who was great for them at the end of the last year. But I look at that as a little youth, right? I think the other one, and the obvious one, is offensive tackle. I mean, clearly it's that. Left tackle is definitely, we're going into a year here where, right now it's a totally unproven commodity over there protecting the greatest person in the sport right now. So I would think at some point, whether that's the first round or the first few rounds, that, tackle maybe for this year, but nonetheless for the future is a necessity for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, what did we see the year that the offensive line was crap? We saw Patrick Mahomes running for his life in the Super Bowl against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
That was quietly
with a horrible toe, with an awful toe.
Quietly one of the most amazing end of the year, like nobody will ever give it credit, performances ever by Patrick Mahomes, because even before the injuries to the tackles and they couldn't protect anybody. He was, if you went back and watched that year and we sat down with some fans and whatever, we'd watch the last 5 games of the year and go, Mahomes is never protected. He just made plays the whole damn last part of the year, and we just went, damn, it's Mahomes. He'll just do this all the time. And then, of course, they met their match with between the toe and an unbelievable pass rush in Tampa. He couldn't overcome that.
The Chargers have a quarterback as well, but plenty of needs around that position. What do they have to get in the draft coming up in 8 days?
Well, I mean, period is wide receiver. They truly don't even have enough of them, right? Now, I don't know. I don't feel like they're let's pick a wide receiver at number 6 type of football team. That doesn't seem like a Jim Harbaugh, 5, type of move, right? I don't expect that. But they definitely need that. That is the number one thing on their team. I kind of feel like they're a top of the second, top of the third round will draft a wide receiver type of team. But they need one for sure. And then just like we talked a little bit about the Chiefs and even a little of the Denver Broncos, who only had DJ Jones in D-tackle, I think that's when you look at that Chargers roster, that's certainly a position where you go, they're a little less than there, and there's no bright spot or guy that's a difference maker there. They got some guys that, hey, can hold down the fort a little bit, but I think that's certainly an area where I go, the team can be improved.
I've mentioned in the past that the folks at OurLads.com do a great job of keeping depth charts updated constantly all offseason long because the teams don't give us anything. And they're not obviously official, but it's a great tool.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it now.
Yeah.
There are no names at receiver. There are no names. Beyond the starters, they got one guy. They got as many tight ends as receivers on the roster with the Chargers right now.
Yeah, it's Quentin Johnson, who's a, young, raw, unproven commodity. It's Joshua Palmer, right? Who we know is a solid
Darius.
Yeah, and who was the other one?
Darius Davis is the slot receiver.
Exactly. I mean, that's it. I mean, they got nothing, like you said. So not only do they need depth and people there, they need a few more people that can truly contribute here this year. That's where I look at them and I go, is he going to take a guy like his old buddy from Michigan, Roman Wilson, at the top of the second round, where he's going to go, I know what I'm getting. He's better than people realize. I really liked him. He's made for the NFL right now. Will they do that type of stuff? That's where I expect the Chargers kind of live in the receiver department at least.
Well, and there's still some free agents out there. There's moves you can make afterward, and there may be a belief from Jim Harbaugh. And I said this before. He's been in college football for so long. He is their secret weapon in the draft room as it relates to who he knows, who he's seen. He was a quarterback in the NFL. He knows what he's looking for. He knows where to find the value, and he knows where he can find the players. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.